All right, Buccaneers, it is Fumani after Orlando Pirates have announced through their club website that they and Dino van Rooyen have parted ways on mutual consent. And I thought that I'd come and share my 2 cents because I think there's a lot to say, especially in light of the position that Dino van Rooyen played or didn't play as much for Orlando Pirates in recent times. And yeah, so obviously today is the 21st of August for those of you that are watching maybe at a later date. But for those who are going to watch on this day as I'm recording this video, it is the 21st of August. So you better write the right date on your exercise book. And yeah, so I think it is important for me to say something with regard this specific transfer news. Not because it's more important than others, but I think that like the situation of the squad, what's happening in the team, that kind of thing is important and it warrants conversation. And I do think that I need to try and make sense of it in terms of okay, what does that mean for the squad? What does that mean for not so much for Van Rooyen? I'm sure he's gonna still have a good career going forward, seeing that he's 29 years old and he's someone who's got a good reputation in terms of just the player that he is and his professionalism and the accolades that he has and that kind of thing. So I think that a club will pick him up. Surprisingly, we might hear of something like, hey, Simba in Africa has now signed Dino van Rooyen, seeing that, especially of late, there's a lot of South African coaches that are coaching outside of the country. So I wouldn't be surprised if he maybe goes and he joins Tshegofatso Mabasa in his team in Africa, something like that. So maybe just for the record, I wish Dino van Rooyen the best of luck with his career. I'm quite confident that he's going to make a good career for himself going forward after his spell at Orlando Pirates. Quite saddened also, maybe for the record as well, that it didn't work out because when he did sign for Orlando Pirates, I think at the time, for me specifically, when I was still doing these videos on a channel called Talking Buccaneers, for those of you that don't recognize me from anywhere, I used to be a part of a channel called Talking Buccaneers, and there I spoke about Dino van Rooyen when he signed, especially just in context with what was the squad at the time with people like Bandile Shandu and James Monyani. I thought he brought qualities that I thought were going to benefit Orlando Pirates, and specifically just the defensive aspect of him, Van Rooyen. I think he's magnificent defender, especially with his recovery pace and that sort of thing. He's just got a smell for where to be as a defender and go and make a tackle and salvage a situation. So I loved him for that. I love the fact that he's like a lion. He's someone who's a warrior for the team. He brings leadership qualities as well. Someone who was a captain at Stellenbosch. And yeah, he's just got that heart, and you never hear anything crazy about him. I'm not going to say that and back that with my chest, because obviously the club will protect some of the things that the players do, and we as spectators who aren't close to the players don't know everything, and so we speak from what we see that is publicized, and so yeah, for that reason you kind of want to speak with a degree of being measured as to knowing that there's an element or a side that you are not exposed to. So, but in as far as I'm concerned, Dino van Rooyen seems like a professional guy. He seems like someone who is good to have in the changing room. He's not toxic or anything like that. So, for that reason, I want to wish him all the best. I think I'm going to miss this, just like the defensive aspect of him. I think he brought something to Orlando Pirates that Orlando Pirates right now doesn't have, which is what I'm going to get into in this video. Just like, what does it mean for Orlando Pirates? But yeah, and I think he was a decent player going forward as well. I think he was fairly good enough player to play for any team in this division. in the PSL. And yeah, I wish him all the best. So, kind of getting into the Orlando Pirates side of things, maybe I want to start with saying this. I want to say I have a theory, and my theory is that the strength of a team is its weakest link. I think I think how good a team is, if you want to measure how good a team is, look at their worst players. Now, I know I just said a statement, but I'm going to go into it now and try and explain what I'm talking about. But I just wanted to say that up front, and then I'm going to get to speaking about that. Now, I think that what makes a club like Orlando Pirates, a club like Mamelodi Sundowns, and maybe I'll just talk about those two, the good clubs that they are, is because if you look at their worst players, and let me qualify that word worst, because soon as people hear worst, they will take me to be saying something that I'm not trying to say. By their worst players, I mean the least best player. So if we're to rank the abilities of the players who play for Orlando Pirates or the abilities of the players who play for Mamelodi Sundowns, the person that would be at the bottom of that list, it is a fact that they are the worst player. That is just English, you know. And yeah, if you look at the least best players at those clubs, those players are good enough to play for most clubs in the division. And that's important because we all know and have seen in our time of watching football that the game is not always played by the best players in that team. Those best players sometimes are injured or are off form, and so you need the entirety of the squad to be able to contribute in those matches. And when you do bring on those players who aren't the best players at the club, you still have to have a standard, which is you still will win with those guys, you know. And I think, just back to my point, is that those players at Orlando Pirates and Sundowns are very good a lot of the time. And the reason I'm kind of talking about this is that, when you are in Orlando Pirates and you have two senior right backs, in my perspective, which is Kamagelo Sibulele and Dino van Rooyen, arguably a third one in Kampani Lungu, and your right back who is not playing is Dino van Rooyen. I beg your pardon. Your right back who's not playing is Dino van Rooyen. Then you've got heck of a good second right back. And it means that Pirates at their worst, with their worst team, is a very good Pirate side. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. I don't know if I'm doing my best to kind of explain what I'm trying to get at here, but I'm trying to go somewhere with what I'm saying. But I do think that as a second choice right back, which Dino van Rooyen was at the time that he left Orlando Pirates, he was heck of a very good right back, second right back. And yeah, the point that I want to get into is this, is that whoever Pirates go and sign has got to be at the level, at least, of Dino van Rooyen. Ideally, you want to be much better. I'm going to start by saying that first. Say, Pirates can't go and get a worse right back than Van Rooyen, because Pirates would have taken a step back. And so that's the level. That's the floor of that right back position. It means Pirates should not go lower than that. Hence, I use the word floor. That's the floor of the ability level that Pirates has got to be looking at. But ideally, you want Pirates to be looking even more ambitious than that. Like, can we get someone who's way better than what we had in Dino van Rooyen, thereby maybe making Sibulele the floor? So again, if you think about the Bafana squad, who did you have at right back? You had Khuliso Mudau, you had Kamagelo Sibulele, and you had who's this guy who plays right back? Matuludi. Matuludi was the third right back, so to speak, or he was one of the three right backs. And my point is this, is that if you've got Khuliso Mudau and the least right back is either Kamkhelo Sibulele or Matuludi, then you've got a very good right back position with very good options in that position. And I'm saying the same thing for Orlando Pirates. I'm saying if they make Sibulele the second right back going forward, then they've got a very good second right back. And yeah, so this is what I'm wanting for us to kind of like speak about and kind of chat about and think about, which is who does Orlando Pirates go for? And I've got a couple of things now. Before I get into like the couple of things that I think maybe they need to look at in terms of right back, I want to say that my biggest concern, for those of you that have watched this channel and the videos that I've made on this channel, I've already kind of pointed out that I've got a bit of a concern for right back, and something that I've found myself thinking is that if only Ndaba was right-footed, then you would have, if you think about the cover that is there at left back with Hoto, Rapo, and Ndaba, if you got turn someone like Ndaba and make him a right back, then Pirates would be well balanced on the left with Hoto and Rapo, and then on the right would say Sibili and Ndaba. That would be very good cover in both sides, left back and right back. However, Pirates are well stocked at left back, where you've got Hoto, who's the seasoned professional, will give you solid 7 out of 10 every game that he plays for Orlando Pirates, sometimes 8 and 9. And then you've got Ndaba, who seems quite well-rounded as a left back. He's got a lot going for him in terms of his overall game going forward and defending. And then he's also got age on his side. I think that was like maybe 23, 24, somewhere there. And so you think about someone around that age and just, his giftedness in his sort of technical abilities, tactically as well, physical attributes, as well as like just the social side of things with like age, how he gets on with other players and that sort of thing. You think he's got a lot going for him, Nkos Konandab. And you just wish that, if only you had him as a right-footed player. But hey, he's never going to be. So Pirates have got 3 good options at left back, and now they've got a crisis, in my humble opinion, to address at right back. Maybe it's not a crisis internally for them because they've got the next right back already lined up. But as we know it, as Pirates fans, going into, say, tomorrow's game at the time of recording, which is like first leg of the semi-finals against Sekhukhune, is that Pirates are going to go there with Sibulele as the recognized right back, and then say Kampani Lungu, who can play there as well, meaning that Orlando Pirates are now removing Kampani Lungu, who was the goal scorer from right winger for Orlando Pirates in the last game when Pirates needed someone to score goals. And in the previous game, he was the one who looked rather as threatening as, say, Muremi when he's scoring goals, from the right side this time around. And I think now you are kind of tempering again with the team where Kampani Lungu's, it's almost like he's found a position, right wing as a goal scoring right winger. He's now maybe going to be converted into a right back, say, for tomorrow. And then you're going to, again, have a different kind of combination going into this Kukune game. Cool. I'm fine with that. In terms of, I'm fine with Kampani Lungu being a kind of option at right back. However, I do want to say that my biggest concern with that right back position is something that I've already said again on this channel, is that I think Sibili is a decent option going forward, especially. I think he gives you good quality and width on that right side. And so when you've got Sibili, when you're on the ball as Orlando Pirates and Sibili is the one who's close to that right touch line, you're thinking we've got a lot of threat on that side. Someone who's going to threaten with like just carrying the ball into the box. He's got explosive pace. And you know that he's also quite cheeky. He likes to try out things. And so anything can happen with him. I think you've got a very good offensive right back in Sibili, who brings rather ball carrying qualities for Orlando Pirates. Not so much I haven't seen in terms of deliveries from that side. But I think tactically, in terms of the shape of the team, just going forward, hugging that touch line, just also bringing that, being someone who can carry the ball and travel distances. I think he helps Pirates, tactically in that way. But I think technically, in terms of like, okay, is he good at crossing? Is he good at like dribbling? Maybe, is he going to find a final pass? That sort of thing. I think he's okay. He's not like bad, but I think he's okay. But he's not what you when you think, okay, we Orlando Pirates, we want to be the best club in the country, in the continent. Is our right back good at crossing? Yeah, he's okay. That's not what you want. You want someone who's good at that, at right back. You want someone who can cross the ball, someone who's good going backwards, you want an overall all rounder in that position. And yeah, for me, I've got a name. I've got two names actually that I want to propose for Orlando Pirates. Well, firstly, within that, there's a point. I think that Orlando Pirates should sign another right back. So that goes without saying for me. I think already I thought it was a little bit of a crisis for Orlando Pirates with Dino van Rooyen and Sibulele. But seeing that Dino van Rooyen has now left, it stands to reason for me that Orlando Pirates are lining up a signing. Otherwise, they would be leaving themselves very thin in that position in terms of bodies, one, but not only that, I think in terms of qualities in that position. I think when you think left back, you think, okay, there's a bit of everything there. You've got energy, you've got pace, you've got quality on the ball, you've got someone who's intelligent as a left back, you've got future proof kind of like potential. Like, so in other words, you've got someone who you're thinking, okay, we've got someone temporarily who's got experience, who's got know-how in terms of Hoto, who's got energy, maybe even technical ability. I know that's an arguable one because Hotter does take free kicks and corners and that sort of thing. So he does have a decent left foot. But I mean, and you've got another extreme with Hotter where like he will actually cross the ball all the way to the corner flag that side. But I do think that Hotter is a decently technically gifted left-footed player on the left. And he's got the experience as well. And then you've got Ndaba, who's got a bit of like know-how in doing everything. And when you've got him, you're thinking, okay, we've got a decent left back who's going to be where we want him to be when we're attacking, when we're defending, he's going to be where we want him to be. But then you've also got a high ceiling in terms of rapport, someone who's going to develop into God knows what, very, 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 very talented with a high potential left back, Neo Rapport, who I think with a very good coach can mold him into anything because he's also intelligent. He's also smart and very naughty and cheeky in terms of like, he's a kind of player who will try out something to do something. So he's not just filling a role, but he's also like, I think I'm better than the right winger kind of left back. He's the left back who thinks he's better than. So I think of, and I know you guys are going to be mad. Some of you guys think we should stop throwing around comparisons with these players, but I dare do that because I think it becomes a reference point for these players to work towards or something that they can model their game around. And I think if I'm Neo Rapo, I'm looking at Marcelo, especially just on the ball, going forward in terms of being an intelligent offensive. And let's be honest, as a player who plays for Orlando Pirates, you do have to be, as a fullback who plays for Orlando Pirates, your on the ball offensive attributes are very much under scrutiny. And I think maybe your defensive attributes are not so much under scrutiny because Orlando Pirates is an offensive club in the competitions that they play in. And so you better have your offensive attributes going for you. And if maybe your defensive ones, not so much, you might get away with it. But yeah, I'm saying that to say that, Neo Rapo, I'd be looking at Marcelo, and then maybe I'd also kind of be looking at, Dino van Rooyen. Like, what makes him good defensively as a fullback, that kind of thing, And yeah, so just kind of coming back to the right side, and I know I'm kind of going there to come back because I just want to give a full picture of where my thinking is at. And I think Orlando Pirates, in terms of what they should go for on the right, is similar to what's happening at left back. They need to future-proof that position. That's one thing for sure. And maybe you've got a little bit of that with Kamohelo Sibulele, who's somewhere in his mid-20s. So you do think that if he continues to play at this level, he'll play another 5 years. And then I'm not so sure what's happening with Jabulani Mukone, who's someone who, obviously, if you've watched any bit of like Pirates development, he seemed a bit of like a bright prospect. I wonder if the height thing is something that's not working for him in terms of when you think about we want this kid to play right back, but maybe we want him to grow a little bit, become stronger, because maybe he's got on the ball and he's good going forward, but maybe he's lacking in terms of like if we're playing him at right back, it's a serious gamble. You need the right centre back to do a lot in the central midfielders to kind of be helping him in the right winger and that kind of thing in terms of defensive duties. And maybe that's what is in the way of Jabulani Mkone developing into the right back of Orlando Pirates, because then he would be the future proof one. If you've got, Sibulele mid-20s, you've got Mkone who's early 20s and has got, still 10 years of his career ahead of him. At Orlando Pirates, winning trophies with these guys, he's going to develop. And then you can go and get okay, this is the best right back in the country at the moment. We also have him. Then I think you're stocked because you know that Sibulele, when he comes on, he's certainly not a parcel. He's going to give you something. But I think with Sibulele being the main right back at Orlando Pirates and then no one behind him except Kampani Lungu and Jabulani Mkone, I'm like, I don't know about that. You've got a loanee out, Sepo Mashilwani. I wouldn't touch him. I think he's fine at Kukune. Yeah, so I have landed on something which is obvious, which is that Orlando Pirates are rightly so in being interested in Mathuludi at Polokwane City. I think obviously anyone with any sense knows that Mathuludi is a right back who is very good in this division at this level, and it makes sense that Pirates is linked with him, and they have been for years now. And so yeah, I think they should be interested in Mathuludi. He'd be the one that I would go for. I think in terms of something that I always talk about is the height. I think one thing that you don't want to sleep on is, as a club, you're always going to be finding these marginal things that you want to be getting better at. So people think maybe we're overly dramatic in wanting a right back who's tall or a full back who's tall. And it's like, no, that's important, because when you start to play the very best clubs, it's these marginal things that lose you games. It's not necessarily like the difference in quality, because you'd imagine that when Pirates is playing Sundowns, there's a lot of quality on the pitch. So it's going to be these small advantages that this team has over that team that are going to win the game. And I think it's the same when you go to Africa. It's not going to be the fact that, Sibulele is good or not. It's going to be he's short. And so now he's struggling at the far post at the back because they're just looping the ball to the back post and someone's going to head it. Or the striker's just going to go and stand on Sibulele and leave Siema and Sbisi. And when you think just about that defensive line, you're thinking Sbisi is not the tallest. I know he's very competitive in the air, but he's not the tallest. You think Siema, look, Siema is not the shortest, but he's also not the tallest as well. I think he's just like average height South African man. I don't know if he looks like he's around that 1.8 meters mark, which I am 1.87 meters, just putting it out there. And I don't feel like I'm the tallest defender. I know I'm tall when I'm playing with South African guys, but you look at giants from Africa and you think, wow, okay, you've got strikers, say, playing in Europe like Isak, who's 1.9 something, Ekatike, 1.9 something. When you come up against those guys, which in the African countries, I know a Cameroonian striker, I forget him, who plays for, is it Bayer Leverkusen? I've forgotten. But you playing Africa Cup of Nations. I know this is not about Bafana, but Orlando Pirates. But I'm just trying to drive the point that when you're playing these African competitions, you do really want to have your team covered in all these small sorts of areas that the opposition might want to take advantage of you in. And so that's the point that I'm wanting to make. But I also just think that not only in terms of height, I think in terms of defensive qualities, I think Mathuludi is ahead of Sibulele. And then Mathuludi is also all-rounded in that going forward, he's a threat. He's a constant threat. He's a nuisance. He troubles the big clubs as well. Going forward, Mathuludi. And I think, you've got a very confident guy who knows his position, has mastered it, has been playing it in this division for a couple of years now, has been touted for a big move for long now, and you think maybe it might be the time. The only way I see this kind of like, or rather the downside for Orlando Pirates around this thing is maybe just thinking that Pirates are making a lot of signings, and maybe what ends up happening is the the core team of, or I don't want to say the spine, because when I think spine, I think central. But I just think the important players that won that league last year, you don't want to change that too much. And maybe that becomes the only criticism with the ever so changing, like sort of team of Pirates, that are they going to still have that factor of this is the team that won the league? Or is it going to be like the players are going to look around and go, I've never won with you, I've never won with you. And it's going to be a brand new team altogether. Whereas last season you had like, I know you added Apollos, you added Moremi, but you still had Mbata. Maybe you added Sipombule as well. Or maybe I'm now arguing myself out of this point to say actually the team that won the league last season was failing you itself. You think about Siema, you think Bogazi, you think Mbata maybe is the one, Shane is the one who comes from the previous sort of bunch of players. Hoto, Relebogile Mofokeng has been there, but when you think Yanele Mbutuma, you think Ozinapolis, Moremi, and so yeah, I've successfully argued myself out of this point because I was trying to find what could be the potential negative with adding all of these new players. And for me, it was like, for continuity's sake, just to bring that bunch of players who won the league last season into this season. And so for anyone who's following my logic, if any Sundowns fans thinks, Pirates won't win the league this year because you sold your spine, it's like, no, they won the league with a brand new team last season, you know? And so why not this season? I'm not saying football works like that. I'm just saying they can't argue effectively that point. Anyway, I feel like I am saying a lot. The other person that I just kind of wanted to throw in the mix is if for any reason Pirates can't get Matuludi, I think someone who deserves a look in at right back is that Amazulu right back Khatebe. I think he's very, very good, especially just going forward. I think he's got height on him. I haven't necessarily, analyzed his defensive attributes. I can be entirely honest about that. I think he's fairly okay insofar as I've seen. I haven't necessarily just looked for the weaknesses. But I think just going forward, I've watched him enough to think, you know what? Here's a guy who's like not only like good on the ball, but he's just got a mind. Like he's someone who you're thinking when he's playing on that right side with Atini Makogolo, who likes to drift towards that side. They just got a special combination where you see, okay, this is the stuff that is like, no, this guy is a star player. Khateb. He just gives that. He's not like a right back who's got pace or what. No. He's like a smart player who's very technical and very skillful. When he's going to be playing that right side for Orlando Pirates, Pirates are going to have heck of a right wing back, so to speak, a right attacking fullback who's got decent height on him. And so maybe in the PSL he might not struggle so much in terms of defending. I mean, he's playing right back for Amazulu and he's defending there, so it's going to be easier to play right back for Orlando Pirates on the defensive side, given that Orlando Pirates are not asked of the defending questions so much as oppositions are. So I'm trying to say you defend a bit less or you defend a bit differently at Pirates. At least you defend more in the opposition's half than you do in your own. And maybe that might not highlight too much of the weaknesses of Khatebe if they are there defensively. And if anyone has watched him, I'd gladly, receive and accept your contribution in the comment section as to what do you guys think of him, Khatebe, especially defending wise. But yeah, let me say that. Let me leave it there. Those are my two names that I want to throw. That I hope Pirates are working on a move for one of these two guys. Matuludi, I think, will be obviously like the obvious one. And then if Pirates for any reason can't get that deal, I think Khatebe is someone they should look at. He's looking good on that Amazulu right flank. But yeah, tell me what you guys think about what I've said. Do you agree with me, disagree here and there? I love to engage. It's good. It helps sharpen my own perspectives as well. It gives me a diversified view. But it's also interesting to just hear how you guys are seeing things, even though we disagree. But yeah, let me leave it there. Cheers, guys.